Here to accept the award for Sir Anthony Hopkins is a PhD. That's right, my friends, a PhD. All right? The Oscars don't have PhDs, by the way. She is the author of Criminal Behavior, Theories, Typologies, and Criminal Justice. She also teaches a course at Seattle University called Murder Movies and Copycat Crime. Please welcome Dr. Jackie Helfgott, everybody. Doctor.
So I'm an academic, and I don't know if I can be as funny as everybody else, but I've been back there drinking this Chianti with Kim in honor of Hannibal Lecter. So thank you for having me here today. I'm honored to accept the award on behalf of Anthony Hopkins for his role as Hannibal Lecter. I began my career as a criminology, criminal justice professor 20 years ago, a year after Silence of the Lambs was released. And I teach courses on, I actually teach a course called The Psychopath and a course on criminal profiling and copycat crime. So since these topics are so intertwined with popular culture, I found myself time and time again wondering if I heard about this or that on TV or in a film or in my own research. So sometimes I forget where I heard something. Did I hear it? Did I read it in an academic article, or did I see it on a film when I'm teaching my classes? And I saw Silence of the Lambs in the theater probably the day it came out 20 years ago, or 21 years ago. And at the time I was conducting my dissertation research, and it was a study of psychopaths, the mental mechanisms of the psychopath. And the study involved me going into prisons to administer psychometric tests to inmates who had been diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. And by the way, I don't advise watching Silence of the Lambs. A couple days before you're going into the prisons in Pennsylvania, when you're a 20-something-year-old graduate student and you're going into a Gothic prison and you're going to interview violent offenders who are psychopaths. But that's what I did, and my first day going in to collect my data, it probably really wasn't more than a week or so after seeing Silence of the Lambs. And one of the more powerful scenes for me in the film was the scene of Clarice walking down the cell block for her first meeting with Hannibal Lecter. I'll never forget the feeling that I had the first day. It was Huntington Prison in Pennsylvania, and I was walking down the cell block, and I swear to God, this is embedded in my mind, and I don't know how much the images from Silence of the Lambs have been intertwined in my own experiences, but I remember to this day walking down the cell block, and I was walking with a psychologist, and I remember all the clanging and the yelling in the prison, and walking down this row, and I remember thinking that, I don't know if I thought I was going to see Hannibal Lecter on the cells to the left of me, but I remember walking down the row, and I didn't see Hannibal Lecter, but I did see a very overweight inmate who had stripped himself of all his clothing, and he was sticking his penis out of the bars of his cell. So anyway, I spent a lot of time with inmates during the time that I did that study, and many of them were in fact psychopaths. None of them were as complex as Hannibal Lecter, but some of them had committed crimes that were just as frightening. And I've spoken with and heard presentations by FBI profilers who were consulted during the making of Silence of the Lambs, and they've said that there is no such person as Hannibal Lecter in real life, and that he's a conglomeration of aspects of a range of serial killers in the annals of true crime. However, there are aspects of Anthony Hopkins' portrayal of Hannibal that are so brilliant that with this character, he created an iconic image of the psychopathic killer that's forever embedded in the public mind. The film itself inspired a generation of college students interested in studying the criminal mind, which one could argue was part of the origin of the field of forensic psychology and the academic study of criminal profiling. And in the late 1990s, I actually did a study on the popular conception of the psychopath, and I asked people, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word psychopath? And the number one answer, do you know what the number one answer was? No, the number one answer was Ted Bundy, but the number two answer was Hannibal Lecter. And to this day, I think no one has ever come close to capturing the omnipotence, grandiosity, defect in affect, manipulative nature, or what some people have called the reptilian stare of the psychopath, as Anthony Hopkins did with Hannibal. And so with this magnificent performance, Hannibal Lecter will forever be the quintessential psychopath and cultural icon of evil. And so on behalf of Anthony Hopkins, I'm honored to accept this award, and congratulations, Hannibal.